Welcome to the next episode of Discipline, Desire, and Dedication, episode 12. My name is Dakota Lang. This is Garrett Cotton. We have a special guest with us today, Mr. Zack Keller. So thank you for joining us. Zach, I know that we kind of just moved over here to Austin. You've been here for a little while now. Just kind of talk about, go a little, rewind a little bit and just tell the people, who you are, where you're from, and, what kind of got you here today.
It's a long story.
Yeah.
Give us a little elevator speech of it,
Yeah.
Okay, short version.
Short version.
Yeah. So before I started with the company, I was actually doing I'd done some other sales jobs, and one of my buddies I sold pest control. Mm-hmm. He worked with, his name was Curtis. So Levi actually found him off the street. He was knocking doors. He's like, "Hey, you want to come sell windows when you're done selling pest control?" He said, "Okay." So brought him on, and then Curtis reached out to me and he said, "Hey Zach, I'm doing this window thing. You should try it out." Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to go back to pest control, although I'd already signed up for another summer of it. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, I was like, "All right, I'll try it out." He's like, "I made $3,000 in a week." And I was like, "No, you didn't. That's not true."
Yeah.
I mean, I'd done other sales jobs, but I only made I think the whole summer I made like $8,500.
Right.
And which that sounds like nothing now, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I came on, and then there's like 5 people in the whole company when I started. I started a month after Performance Windows opened.
A month after.
What kind of emotions did you feel going in? Did you feel like, oh, I'm just here for a ride, like let's figure it out, or was it more of like, all right, I'm brand new into a new company? Like, what was your perspective coming into it?
So at first I was really skeptical of it because I'm meeting Kyle and Levi, and I'm like, what is this? We're in this the room was literally like a little bigger than this room, Mm-hmm. And they're telling me like, yeah, this is here's the script, and you do this, and yeah, what do you think? I'm like, I don't know what to think. I've never seen anything like this. Usually, because I was used to these other sales companies where they have like these big offices, these big they'll build out like basketball courts inside and like all this stuff. They'll these crazy recruiting events. They'll throw money at you just so you can come on and try the thing out. And then we have this little office with 4 people in it, and I was like, you know what? I'm not really sure to this day why I took the leap, but I took the leap, and I'm really glad I did.
Yeah,
really glad I did. So, yeah. So then I started, and I knocked for 9 months, more or less, before I started closing, and then I closed for a year, mm-hmm. and then I was a market owner for about 2 years, and then since the transition, yeah, that's where we're at now.
Yeah.
So
when you first got into the company, I know that the company's changed a lot since we've been around, even since I've been here. Mm-hmm. So what was like the requirements to become a closer when you first got through?
The closer requirements actually weren't that different.
Oh, it was pretty much the same. 2 recruits and.
Oh, it was 2 recruits, but the
100,000.
Yeah, it was 100K.
Mm-hmm.
100K 2 months in a row.
Okay, so that hasn't changed too much.
Not dramatically, no.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was 100, and then it went to 125, and now it's 8 sales.
And who were your first 2 recruits?
So, Matt Monson.
Oh, really? You recruited Matt?
Yeah, I did.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Matt Monson, and then I had my wife come out and knock a couple doors.
She came and knocked some doors?
Yeah, she did.
So did Journey with Dakota.
Yeah, so did Journey.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Journey knocked some doors too. That's
yeah.
Cool, yeah.
How did that go for you, Dakota?
Not too good.
What did she come out like 2 days, 3 days?
No, she knocked for 3 days. Yeah, she knocked for 3 days, and that's another story in itself. I'll go ahead and tell it. But you actually, so you remember? I don't remember where we were knocking at, but she passed all the script. We went out with her. She was shadowing me, kind of seeing the ropes of everything. And then I was like, all right, because I was working on qualifying. Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, you gotta go. You got to get away from me. And that was whenever you came, and then you had an appointment. You're like, all right, you got it. Just go start knocking. And she had to figure it out. And she did. She knocked a couple doors. She did set one appointment. So, hey, congrats, Journey. But hey, I always think it's a good thing for them to see the doors.
Yeah.
You know,
Know what you're going through.
Know what we're doing.
Know
out there.
what we're doing out there, and it just makes them appreciate, what we have.
Right.
You know, they see the work behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So, what were you doing before you did pest control?
So I was at school, but actually it's a funny story. When my first sales job was actually solar.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any success, like being younger? No.
No success.
That's any story that I've ever heard from like some friends from back at home. Like they actually would leave to go try solar. Like I know like 2 or 3 that went off to California to go sell solar. A week later they'd be back. So I don't know. For me, I think going into the door-to-door space, I didn't really know what door-to-door was. I
Right.
had just heard the solar, but they never had success. But this was Windows, so something completely different.
Right.
Yeah, the thing is that so like I grew up in Idaho. Idaho does not. I mean, I think we maybe got like 2 people that ever knocked on our door ever.
Yeah.
So it wasn't something I was super familiar with. I'd heard stories about, so and so's brother's son's cousin. He went and sold something and he made $200,000 or something. I'm like, that didn't mean anything to me. I was like 17 when I heard that. I was like, $200,000, okay, So when I was in school and I was looking for a summer job, I was applying to all these places, and the ones that wanted me first were always these sales companies. And so, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll go try it. So I went to this interview. I remember the guy, big office space. He's bringing me in. He's interviewing me. He's like, yeah, I almost always do a second interview, but I'll tell you what, you seem real special. He's like, I'll bring you on right now. And I was like, I made it.
Yep.
Like I'm in this big office space. I'm like, wow, Yeah, so I go out and I started the summer job. I was living with my grandma at the time, and there was like 4 guys on the team, and they had all been recruited from Virginia, actually. Like they had brought them out here, and this company had done solar in some other states, but they'd never done one in Utah before. And the team lead was some guy that had never knocked doors. He was just some guy that like closed only. Mm-hmm. And so he he didn't really know like what to tell us. And the guy he would come in the meeting every morning, like the guy that interviewed me, and he'd just yell at us. He'd be like, you guys aren't doing anything. All you have to do is set appointments. Just set appointments. And I was like, I don't know how. I'm trying to figure this thing out. And he's like, all you do is you just do it. And I'm like, okay. And I'd ask him questions. I'd be like, well, I went out and I got these 3 questions. What do I say this? He's like, you don't need to know the answers to those questions. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So I got pretty tired of that. It's funny. I quit probably after about 2 weeks. And I didn't quit just to quit. I actually, when I was out knocking, I met somebody else selling pest control. Mm-hmm. This girl, and she was like, all right, listen, you should come work for me. And I was like, no, like I committed to this, so I'm going to do this. And she's like, no, it's super good. We do lots of training. And that's all I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All I wanted was training. I just wanted
to know how to handle this different situation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's all I wanted. So she got me in touch with her manager, and we went to breakfast, and the next day I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll just try it. So then I sold pest control the rest of that summer. I didn't really have a lot of success at it. I did about 100 accounts, which it's not like horrible, but it's not that impressive at all.
Yeah. It paid the bills. Like you can make enough.
What is 100 accounts in pest control similar to Windows?
Well, it's tough because it's a summer, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure how that would compare, but I mean, 100 accounts, maybe it'd be like in a month, maybe like 3 sales, maybe 4 sales.
3 sales, 4 sales.
Yeah.
Still enough. But more than you could make in a normal job.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But pretty much average.
It would have been more than if I'd been working Burger King all summer long,
Yeah. Pros.
The other thing that was funny about that too is that when they gave me a $1,500 sign bonus to come back for this next summer. But when I started with performance, I had to pay it back.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, because you didn't finish out the contract?
Yeah, exactly. Because I had signed to go another summer, and I quit that to come work for performance.
Okay.
And at that point, I didn't have a whole lot of money in the bank, so I kind of started in the negative when I started with performance. I was living in my grandma's basement. I'd just been married, and I had to start with minus $1,500.
Yeah.
So that's how I started with performance.
We always tell people, especially whenever they're coming up here as like new recruits and stuff like that, that's whenever you do your best. You know, when your back's against the corner, you have no other option. So,
Right.
what would you say? You know, because obviously you were born in Idaho, correct?
I was actually born in Virginia, but I grew
Okay.
up in Idaho. We moved out there when I was like 4. So
Okay, so you grew up in Idaho. You stayed in Utah a little bit.
yeah, so I went to Utah for school, and I was there until I moved to Texas. So,
Did you go to BYU?
No, I went to Utah State.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
What'd you go to school for?
to go to school.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I didn't even finish. I think I have one class left and I can get the degree. But,
I'm actually in the same boat.
really?
I have one class left.
Yeah.
I might do it one of these days. I don't know.
I went
We'll
for a
see.
full 5 years, so you'd think I'd.
Yeah. No, I even stuck with it for a little while. I was doing this job. I would do it online. Mm-hmm. I only need one class, but
Didn't you tell me something similar that you started with performance windows and like Kyle and Levi were like, hey, look, all right, so are you going to school or are you doing this?
yeah, no, that was like my second or third month. I think they pulled me in. They said, hey, look, you know, you're the kind of guy where we see you really growing with this company. Like, what's it gonna be? You know, are you gonna do this or is school the priority? I said, nope, school's taking the back seat. Mm-hmm. So it did. So when push came to shove and I needed to decide, like, you know, especially when I was a marketer, I didn't have time to do school at all.
Mm-mm.
No, that's impossible, right? So I was like, nope, school's out.
Yeah.
School's out. So I'd stuck with it through knocking and closing, where it was just kind of in the background. I'd take a couple classes every now and then to try to finish out. But then when push came to shove, it was like, nope, backseat. I don't need it.
First office was the Pleasant Grove office, correct? Mm-hmm. It was, yes, a small office. I could only imagine because Carson, whenever he recruited me to the company, he kind of gave me the story about his introduction into performance windows. Got a text to come in for an interview, shows up for an interview, no one's there. Then calls him like, oh, shoot, man, I forgot about that interview. Let's meet tomorrow at 9 a.m. for the meeting. So it doesn't go through an interview process, just shows up to go to a meeting.
Right.
And that's how he started with the company. So
Carson showed up for an interview and they didn't show up?
Eric Ostrom didn't show up. Eric just wasn't there. And then Carson's like at PG office like, hey, man, I'm here for an interview. And Eric's like, oh, shoot, man, I completely forgot. Well, look, tomorrow morning, I'm going to text you the script, start reading over the script, and come into the meeting tomorrow morning. And he just came into a meeting. And next thing you know, he started like seeing some fast success, and here we are. But was your experience? I could only imagine it'd be pretty similar to that. You know,
it's funny actually. I think about it sometimes because my experience wasn't really like that at all.
Really?
Yeah,
it was actually pretty professional.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say professional, but I would say that Levi and Kyle wanted me to do it probably a lot more than they care about a lot of people coming through because at the time they needed people bad. You know, they had just started the company. They were real excited to get things rolling, and so I wander in. You know, I'm a potential recruit for Curtis, who was on track to be closer, and so they were like they wanted me to do it. You know, they wanted me to do it. They really talked me through it. They even gave me a day to think about it. You know, we don't do that anymore.
No.
But I did it. So
Awesome. Did Curtis become a closer? I mean,
he did, yeah.
And where's he at now?
He quit about probably 3 or 4 months after starting to close.
Really?
Yeah, he went to quit to go back to school and I guess be a doctor, but I don't think he actually ended up doing that. He
Yep,
did
had a
something
different
else.
ride.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. Well, I know you came into the company pretty young as well. Did you ever do like a mission or anything like that?
Yeah, I did.
Where
Yes.
did you do your mission at?
So I was in Germany.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So I was there for 2 years and yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah. Did you ever have I'm sure you had some hard times over the 2 years. You know?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What's one of the most memorable parts about your mission?
You know, I would say there's probably like 2 parts that I'm probably most proud of, but I think the one that I always think of is I was out in this area that was kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and our it was a congregation of like maybe like 8 people, just a little small group of people, and I worked my tail off in that area. I worked, I would get up. You work a strict schedule, right? So you work, all your hours are set. You get up at 6:30, and then you go, and But I was training, so I had a brand new guy with me, and I was still pretty young too on the mission. So I would have him waking up at like 5:30 every morning, and then we would get up and we'd do extra language study. We would do extra, exercise in the morning. We do extra all this other stuff, and we worked all day long. We did not take a break. We worked and worked and worked and worked. One of the most dedicated moments I think I've ever had in my life, and I worked and worked and worked. And I remember the guy that was over this congregation had been kind of, you have all these missionaries that come through, and they're always so, there's young Americans and with all these old surly Germans, they're like, these kids don't know what they're doing, type of thing.
Yeah.
And he had been kind of cold towards me for a long time. I was in that area for 6 months. It's a pretty long time. And he was like, I remember right before I left, he got up and he spoke to the whole congregation. He said, we've never had a missionary that worked so hard, and we've never seen someone as dedicated as this missionary.
Yeah.
We really appreciate all the work he did. And it was just one of these proud moments. That was a moment that, no one else in the room was there. I mean, just this little congregation and my companion, But I remember I think about that moment a lot because, the walls came down. I broke through this old surly German guy, and he was like, he did it. He really he really impressed us. And I really felt good about that. Yeah. There wasn't any fanfare. There wasn't like, we're not like, there's no award. I'm not getting a
right.
I'm not getting like anything crazy. I don't put it on a plaque on the wall, but to me, that's one of the greatest moments, for me.
That true acknowledgement that you did what you were supposed to do while you're there. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Are you fluent in German?
I am, yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Can you do the script in German?
I'd have to think about it a little bit. We use a lot of weird words in there, but I took Bree back in October.
Really?
Yeah, we went back and I was real worried about it. I was like, what if I don't know it anymore? But I didn't have any problems with it.
That's pretty awesome. Did you kind of visit the old places you went on your mission?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See old faces and stuff?
Yeah, we didn't go to like everywhere, but we mostly stayed, because I was in Berlin for almost a full year.
Mm-hmm.
Berlin's super cool. I mean, you could spend forever there and just see more and more and more.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was in Berlin for a while, and then so we went to Berlin, and then we went to Dresden. So it's kind of a cool place. But yeah, lots of history in Germany.
That's pretty awesome. I definitely want to go visit Germany one day.
When was your mission?
It was so I was, November 2016 to October 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
And how you were what, 18?
Yeah.
18 through 20?
Yep.
That's pretty wild.
Yep.
I was doing a lot of different things at 18 through 20.
Real quick, huh?
Yeah.
Did Bree go on a mission?
She did, yeah. She went. She was in Virginia, actually.
Okay.
What a coincidence, huh?
Yeah, I know.
Where you're from.
I know. It was kind of a weird overlap there.
Yeah.
When did you and Bree meet?
So we met at school.
Okay.
Yeah, we met at school. She was. I saw her at church actually, and I kind of knew. When I saw her, I was like, yeah, that's my wife. I know it. And she had kind of a similar thing. So, in fact, I actually put off dating her.
Really?
Yeah, because I was scared. Because I knew as soon as we started dating, I knew it was going to be over. So
how long did y'all date before y'all got married?
So we met, and then 3 months from then is when we started dating.
Mm-hmm.
And then after 3 months of dating, we were engaged. And then after 3 months of being engaged, we were married.
That's wild.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
When
like
you doing
that.
So we've been dating for 3 years. I've known her for 6. Probably about like.
Yeah, so you got 3 years. No, it's the 3-3-3 plan.
Yeah. So 3, 6, 9. And 9 years.
9 years. That's when you're getting married. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll get there. It's on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing that's very different from y'all's culture compared to ours. Is like y'all get married at such a young age.
Yeah.
We got to make real sure. we got to really make sure.
Really test the waters. Get every single possible experience out of the way before you're like, all right, no, it's good.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's like, she's still with me. Let's go.
Yeah.
But Caitlin doesn't watch.
She gonna watch.
Yeah, but let's talk a little bit about like your performance windows experience. All right, so you've seen the company at highs, you've seen it at lows, you've kind of been all over the place.
Yeah.
What would you say has been? I mean, you still got a lot of time left with performance windows, but
Right.
what's been some of the highlights that you've experienced in your time with performance windows?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really cool stuff. I think, for some reason, whenever I think of the highlights, I always think of these blitzes that we did. Mm-hmm. I don't know
Did
why.
you do any of the ones like I know they did one in Vegas a long time ago? No.
No, I mean, I think so when they talk about Vegas Blitz, they're talking about when Kyle and Levi were at JKR.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, so Performance, as far as I know at least, has never done a Vegas Blitz.
Oh,
but,
okay. I must have misunderstood that because, I remember Levi and Kyle said that they went and they didn't have as much success as they thought. Like, it was a hard market and stuff. But
Yeah, JKR still does blitzes out there. But the other thing is Levi sold pest control in Vegas. Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah, so he actually worked for the same company I did, and
What company was that?
it's called Aptive.
Oh, they're still around. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're big.
Yeah, I see trucks and stuff like that with Aptiv.
Yeah, they're big. So, yeah, the blitzes I think of. So the company. So let's see. So I started in May, and then May, June, July. I think it was. So it was September. I remember when we did the Bountiful Blitz.
Mm-hmm.
So this was. So we were in PG, and then Bountiful is now part of the Kaysville office's territory.
There's some big deals in Bountiful, isn't it?
Yeah, big area. Yeah, that's where the money is.
Isn't that kind of like similar to like the Alpine? I'm not super familiar, but I want to say
Yeah.
right before I got to PG, they had just done a blitz to Bountiful, and
Right.
Carson had some big deals and stuff over there.
Yeah, Bountiful. There's money in Bountiful for sure. Yeah, and Alpine. Yeah, also a lot of money in Alpine too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did this Bountiful Blitz, and so that month I did 199,938 or 983 or something like that. Like it was like I wanted to break the 200K mark, but I didn't quite
Just
get
short.
it. Yeah. And then the following month in October, I actually did break it, but then I had 2 cancels, and it got me down to like 195.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we went out in this week, and I had something like, so that week is when I did my 13 set day, and I had 5 of those close, and it was like kind of this crazy thing. I made like 20K that month on the old pay structure.
Yeah.
On the old pay structure, right?
Yeah.
So before we did the 600, 700, 800, it was just 600 plus 1% or 1,200 plus 1% if it was a double.
Damn, that was it.
That was it.
Jeez. When I first got in, it was 6, 7, 8.
Yep.
And plus 1%, and then I've seen 3 pay raises since I've been here. So you've seen probably 5.
Yeah. So I made a lot of money that month just as a knocker. And then there was a big turning point. So at the time, I was operating in a position called the knocker manager position. Doesn't exist anymore, but basically I was responsible for all the training of all the other knockers, and I got
like a lead knocker.
a lead knocker. Yeah, exactly. So, but I thought I was going to do that until I was a market owner.
Really?
I was like, yeah, I'm just going to do this. And then I remember, so I had the deal was that to stay in that position, you actually had to have a qualifying month every month.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you had to be producing.
Yep.
That'd be pretty hard for some people now.
I know. Yeah. You think about that now and you're like,
Yeah, B-Rob is the only person in our office that he's hit 3 consecutive months so far. But I don't trust him doing all the training.
Right, yeah.
He's only been here since December. So
right.
we've got a lot of people in the office that's been here a lot longer that I think train a little bit better than he does.
Right.
But he gets sales, but I feel like it's his own way. It's not necessarily the script.
Not the right way. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so-
He's finding some other paths.
He's swaggy, but in his own way. He's swaggy for him, So to train others, it's just I don't trust it.
You can sell a lot of windows with pure confidence and a little bit of script, but
you can.
But you can sell way more with perfect
Confidence
script
and
and
the perfect
the
script.
script. Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
What would you say, with your move down to Austin initially, what would you say the biggest difference between the Southern culture and maybe, where you're from?
That's a good question. To be honest with you, I actually thought people were going to be really, meaner to me.
Yeah.
I didn't really find that, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe you feel differently about that, but I didn't really feel like that when I moved down. In fact, I think to this day, I think one of the meanest places you go knock is actually in Provo. Mm-hmm. I think people are so mean in Provo. I don't even know why, but when I moved down, I really thought people were going to be mean to me. I didn't get that. There's some people that are going to be angry, but that's
Right.
Everywhere.
Yeah,
You can't. I've knocked
that's
in
doors.
Yeah, that's just doors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've knocked in Boise, same thing. I've knocked in both Utah offices. I've knocked in Dallas. I've knocked in all these different places. It's just knocking. There's gonna be people that are grumpy or whatever.
Yeah.
But as far as culture, though, I think the biggest difference, to be honest with you, is just how versatile the culture is. You meet people from all over the world. I'm not even just people from I don't know, South America, Mexico,
Right.
but more of those for sure. But
Lately.
yeah, but people I meet I run appointments with Europeans all the time,
Right.
in Austin. I don't know what that's all about, but I meet people from France, Germany. One of my first sales in Austin was this girl from France.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's what I would say. Just all kinds of different people, and I think it actually makes it. I think it makes it a little better.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it a little better. There's a little bit. You never know what you're getting.
Yeah, always something different.
Yeah.
Huge melting pot down here. Versus, I feel like when I was in Utah knocking, I have an accent.
Yeah.
And I also dress a little different, and I feel like they can tell that I wasn't normal in Provo, Utah, and stuff. So
Right.
I felt like for me, I had a great experience because people would answer the door and I could see the mean demeanor, like they don't want to hear what I've got to say.
Right.
But I'm like, hey, how are y'all doing today? Just real quick, and I'm like putting extra twang into the country, in my accent.
They like the twang, yeah.
And people would literally be like, what do we do? Like, oh my gosh, you're not from here. Where are you from? And
Right.
but they would do that in the first intro of the paragraph. And I'm like, oh, I'm from Louisiana. But the reason I stopped by and I'd keep going through it, I'd have so many people invite me inside.
Really?
So, I could not tell you. I love knocking in Utah because I was such an outcast that, for me to knock on the door and still be professional and, sell a great opportunity, just people actually listen to me. It's kind of
Right.
I feel like girls don't really get the mean end of the stick too often. I'm sure
Yeah.
they do, but it's not as much as the guys get it. So I felt like I had that situation.
You had an advantage, yeah. No,
Yeah.
I believe that's true for sure.
Yeah, so I could imagine it'd be because then coming down south, we've always thought it the same. Everybody's got a gun right by the back door. There's a good chance somebody's not going to be too happy with you knocking on their door.
Right.
But the reality of it is people down south they're very open arms.
Yeah.
Everybody's a neighbor. I'd say that. In regards to religion, in the South, we still are very religious,
Right, right.
but we just worship God in a different way, we just have a lot of different religions versus in Utah, it's pretty much LDS,
Yeah,
for the
of course,
majority.
yeah.
And so with us, it's, the Bible says love thy neighbor, and everybody kind of has open arms and nobody's really a stranger.
Right.
But it's not really clicked off. We can make friends with the homeless guy in the gas station
Right.
before we leave the building.
Right.
So reality of it is knocking down south. It can't be, and it's never going to be too bad.
Right. Yeah. No, I think there's good people everywhere.
Yeah.
If you look for a place to be really mean to you, you'll find it.
That's right.
If you're seeking it out, oh, I'm sure people are gonna be terrible here, then you'll find that.
Yeah.
You're gonna find good and bad, but you're gonna only think about the bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
What do you think about the food?
I love the food.
Yeah.
No, I love the food. Yeah, I'm not leaving because of the food.
Have you
Right.
eaten some crawfish and Oh, you
Yeah,
did?
we did a crawfish boil. It was fun.
Was that your first ever crawfish boil?
Yeah, I never done it.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome. What would you rate it? 1 to 10?
Okay, so I was thinking about this the other day. So, initially I would give it like a 7, right?
Uh-huh.
But for some reason, I don't know why, I keep thinking about it.
Yep, that's how it is. It's an addiction.
Yeah, I keep thinking about it. Like the other day, I was like, man, I really like doing one of those crawfish boils again. That was good. Like
Yeah.
I keep thinking about it for some reason.
Yep.
In the moment, I was like, yeah, it's like a 7 out of 10, you know?
Right.
But now I'm like, I just want more. I don't
What,
know.
what was your? Did you eat some of the mushrooms, the potatoes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What was your favorite? I guess you can say side
Fixing.
fixing.
I like the potato the best.
The potato.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm a big mushroom guy.
Yeah, I like
No, the mushrooms are good too.
Mushrooms
Potatoes
are
and
freaking
stuff.
Fire. Yeah.
We got to get Jack for a crawfish boil one day.
Yeah.
Next time we come down, we'll
We'll
have to
do
boil
it.
one.
We'll boil some sacks. Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah. Let's just talk about what we're the future.
Okay.
Let's talk about the future. Kind of hit on the past, hit on the present. Let's talk about the future. What would you say? You know, obviously you took on a totally different role. What would you say I don't know. We can talk about the pros and the cons. You know, as far as like, you know, we had a bunch of, you know, so Jared, some of the Louisiana guys that came from Denver. Joe came from Denver.
Right.
What would you say the biggest challenge and the biggest blessing would be to us, you know, all these new people coming into the office?
So I would say, I'd say the biggest blessing is that for me, trying to build the office was such a struggle because creating the right amount of buy-in, right? I can teach these people how to do it. I know how to do it, and I can teach them how. I know how to teach it, but it's creating the desire that's so hard, right? So bringing all these guys in, we have a core because it's when you're in a room with everyone who wants it, it's pretty easy for you to want it,
Right.
right? If you're in a room where everyone's not sure if they want it, and the only guy that wants is the guy that's telling you what to do,
It's hard.
doesn't work very well.
Right.
Yeah.
I've heard a saying before that they say, like, as a business owner, there's never going to be an employee that works as hard as the business owner.
Yeah.
So if you can come into a room and have the accountability of the business owner, of course you're not going to reap the same reward, but you're going to move up really, really fast because no one has that same level of accountability. It's just taking ownership.
Exactly. That's the trick. That's the trick. It's extreme ownership. You take all of it. You have to. Yeah, so the biggest blessing I would say is that all these guys come in, they have already got the buy-in. They've already got the commitment to it. And, you know, we've seen since then other people that have come into the office and they see that and they're just as part of the team now as anybody else, right?
Yeah.
So
Bringing over, what was it, five from Denver?
Dustin, Jared, Joe, and Clay.
And yourself, yeah.
And me.
Yeah, so 5 people, and now the office is up to plus
12.
12,
13.
12, 13, yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't take long. That was a month and a half ago. So 6
Right.
weeks, and it's already over doubled. You know,
Yeah,
it's
so
pretty
we're doubled.
amazing.
Yeah, and we have another guy starting Monday,
yeah.
and possibly 2 guys.
And some good people too in the office. Just the people I talk to, like Luis he's bought
Solid.
in.
Yeah, solid.
We
solid
talk about
guy.
that all the time. So whenever I initially came down here, that was before Costa Rica, so that would have been like the first week of February, right after we were in Utah. And we talk about the growth that Luis today is a totally different person from when we got here.
I don't think I ever saw him not smile in the
Yeah.
meeting
Yeah.
on Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he was just big cheesing. We did a role play. I did a role play with him, and he was like big cheesing,
Yep.
sounded good. I was like, okay.
Luis was never like that before. He, you know, he was kind of more like mellow, but now he brings the energy all the
Yeah.
time. So, Luis's transformation is like Joe's transformation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I remember, you guys remember when I was out in Denver for a couple days, I worked with Joe for a couple days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he was brand new at that point.
Yep.
He didn't even know anything. He didn't know.
Carter was his recruiter. So,
Right.
Carter's training a
Off
little
the
bit.
door.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He recruited him just from off, like in his
Off the door.
house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knocked his door.
Yeah, he was telling me that story, and I was like, "That's crazy." But yeah, I'm working with Joe. Joe doesn't even know how to like talk to people, you know. And he's on the door, and he's like, yeah. And then I was like, But now you watch Joe, and Joe's like, he's got it.
Problem solving.
Yeah, he's a stud. So, yeah. But yeah, so I would say that, the biggest thing is having that core of belief in the office. That's invaluable because obviously the most important thing for me in this position now is that just good deal flow, right? Good appointments. And that's what we've been getting. That first week you guys came out, I mean, we did, 200. I closed like 200, over 200K that week.
Yeah.
Which.
Well, we did. It was like 410K in a 10-day span.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We were talking about that. Kyle started getting a little nervous.
No, when y'all get close to
a million, we go. Don't worry about that.
How long you think? Because you've seen the Austin office, break its office record, and then you've seen some office lows and stuff like that.
Right.
How long do you think it'll be until y'all break the current office record for Austin?
I mean, I think we can do it this month.
Yeah.
I think we do it this month.
Think it'll hit the middle of this month or next month or?
That's a good question. I think we got a real shot at it this month.
Yeah, I really
do. And if not this month, then it's next month.
All it takes is a couple good days.
Yeah, no,
Well,
absolutely.
not a few. And you don't need an entire full month of 1,000 produced production.
Right.
You can have one day. I mean, in Denver, we did 300,000 in 2 days, like 180K and 130K. So we're over 300,000, and it happens super
Like
fast.
that, yep.
And what are y'all at right now? Y'all are pacing pretty good.
Well, we did right at 90. What we did 98K yesterday.
Yeah, almost 100.
Almost 100, and we were at
The day prior, we did like 80 something.
Yeah, so we're probably around what? Probably around 350.
Yep, and still got half the month left.
350, 360.
I was thinking we probably cracked 400, but maybe that's not right.
No, I don't think we hit 400. Yeah, I think we were at 350, 360. And to be honest with you, I don't think there's no reason. We'll definitely break the office record this month just because, as you can tell, Clay, his last 5 appointments, he's close to 3 of them. So just now getting his, like he went down and then now he's just now coming back up. So
Right.
That takes so much pressure off of me and you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say that since the Dakota and all the Louisiana people have been over, have you adjusted your script or have you changed any of your things since being here?
Yeah, big time.
Really?
Big time,
What's
yeah.
some of the, well, I guess we don't need to get too much of like exactly what's been changed, but is it more of like the script itself has changed, or is it like, do you think your delivery has changed? Or
Well, for one, I mean, when Dakota first came out, he watched me. He's like, we're going to change this. And I was like, okay, I'm cool for it. So he said, I'm going to send you a serial of me, and I want you to listen to it and replicate it. So it's not exactly the same, but it's I've adopted a lot of things that Dakota does in my closing script. And
working.
So it's working. Yeah, it works really well. So and I'm going to keep refining and getting better and working on my delivery and all that kind of stuff. I'm in a constant process of trying to get better. So my goal is I want to be number one.
Yeah.
I want it to be clear, like, Zack is the best closer in the company. There's no doubt.
And I feel like, because you've been there, like and you have been on the leaderboard for a closer too, huh?
No.
Or is it just knocking?
I can't remember.
I don't know if they started the leaderboards early enough or if they were doing.
There's a full year that's lost time, and that's where all my all my crazy stuff happened. But there's in 2020 that's not recorded anywhere. But 2020 is where, I was, I held the knocking record for a long time. Well after I became a closer, that sets in a day was my record for even longer, for almost like. I think like 2.5 years.
A long time, I'd imagine. Because Colby got the 17, but I don't know. I think like 2 ran out of the 17.
Yeah, I know.
It wasn't even a big day.
Yeah, that's the
she
thing.
Had no sales.
I did the 13, but 5 closed. You know, I mean,
that's something.
That's something. I guess I didn't talk about cons.
Yeah, I didn't talk about cons.
Yeah, I mean, full honesty. I mean, full transparency here. I mean, I'm grateful that I don't have your problems right now, because you have other problems, right? I'm grateful not to have those problems.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's kind of bittersweet, because then I kind of see like where I made mistakes, And I think like, oh, if I had just done this a little different, I see like how we handle things, and I think, oh, that's what I should have been doing the whole time, Like if I just adjusted a little bit, done it a little bit more like this, we would have had a lot more success. And I could have, in those, when you're running an office, there's usually there's these moments where you get down and you must act, and your decision's so important. And if you don't do it just right, it tips the wrong way, and then you have to, it's hard to reclaim that loss that you get there.
Creates more problems.
Creates more problems, right? I just think man, if I just acted a little different here and here, if I'd known a little bit more, I mean, even just watching you work and then watching how we handle things and how we address different problems, I think, I could have done that, and then, we would have been in a different place now, but it's just learning.
Yeah, that's all it is.
It's just learning.
Growth, yeah.
Yep.
So when you say you got out to Austin, Texas, do you feel like it was ever like you were thrown to the wolves to figure it out type situation, or you?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was, I was terrified. I mean, when I first got out here, I was terrified. I was like,
I bet. Who came with you to Austin to open up the branch?
I had 2 people.
That's it.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I had this guy named Bon. Bon had come over from JKR. He was a brand new closer. He'd only been closing for I trained him to close, so he'd only been closing for a month when he came out. And then I had this guy named JT.
JT Pontius?
Yep.
Oh yeah, he's still with us.
He's still with us. Yep.
So when did he leave Austin?
He left. I think in last summer sometime, probably in August. Yeah, maybe August. So he went to Dallas because they needed another closer up there. So at the time,
y'all were on a come up, and he had went.
Yeah, we had 3 closers in the office, and we had 3 knockers.
Yeah.
So we were top heavy. So it wasn't a big deal for him to go move somewhere else. So
yeah, well, that's good though. It's working out for the best.
Yeah. Yeah, it all works out, right?
Yeah. All right. This is Zach. Well,
yeah, thank you for joining us today,
Yeah, thanks
Zach.
for having me.
Yeah,
It was fun.
Allowing us to pick your brain.
Absolutely. Anything any last words?
Last words.
Yeah. Inspiration to maybe some people listening that don't know you.
Sure. Yeah.
Taking that leap of faith.
Yeah, I mean, if it's something that it's like we always say, the worst thing you can do is nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
The worst thing you can do is nothing. So, second best is the wrong thing, and obviously the best is the right thing. Right. I didn't know whether or not it was the right or the wrong thing when I took the leap to start here. I'm really glad I did because it turned out to be the right thing. But even if it was the wrong thing, I wouldn't have regretted doing it.
Nope.
Yeah.
So, and that's true of everything. My whole journey with performance. I've been here for 4 years now. I'm the oldest, I'm most senior in the company, I guess. Every step of the way has always been learning. So, right, we talk about pros and cons. It's always been learning.
Yep.
So, even when it's a con, it's still a learning moment. So, I'm still moving forward, even when it feels like, you either stall or you move forward. You don't move backwards.
Yep.
That's the way it is. So,
That's
yeah,
it.
there's nothing you can't hurt yourself by trying. That's for sure.
Yep. Just comes back to effort. You got to have that work ethic. So
You only lose when you quit. That's it.
Yeah.
That's right. That's true failure.
Yep.
Because
that's
you
the
never
only way you
really
fail. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah,
Keep
because it's
pushing.
always something to take from a situation. So it could be a terrible day. You can have all of your installs go bad. You could have no sales. You could have, it could just be just terrible. But you learn from those days because especially in the position of market owners, you learn how to rebuild the office. As a closer, you make adjustments to see the next one close. Because you got a lot of weight on your chest. And
Yep.
so I'm very thankful for the opportunity to be here and stuff as well. So.
absolutely. Well, glad to have you. Everybody, thank you for watching Discipline, Desire, and Dedication. Episode 12, we'll have some new content coming out soon. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all.